So today I want to talk about one of the biggest barriers to being a new teacher and one of the most daunting things you're going to face throughout the entire year. And that is your very first parent-teacher interview night. So one of the reasons why I think parent-teacher night is so daunting for many teacher candidates and first-year teachers is because throughout Teachers College, you're really trained to work with students. You learn all these tips and tricks and techniques to have them learn from each other, and have them grow and develop, but you're never really trained to talk to the parents. And it can be intimidating. Normally the parents are at least twice your age, maybe even 3 times. They come in with a bunch of life experiences and questions, and they expect you as the teacher to have all of the answers. And just on the side, some parents really think that their kids are special and deserve preferential treatment, which obviously you can't do in a classroom of 30 kids. So with that said, how did my first parent-teacher night go? It went relatively well. I think I was nervous going into it. Again, never really trained to talk to parents. It doesn't mean we haven't had the odd phone call with a parent after school or something, but at the end of the day, it's not really part of the formal training, and this is one of the biggest initiation events into being a teacher, I think. All the other teachers are sort of scouting it out and being like, oh, good luck, hopefully it goes well. I think some teachers are a little bit jaded about it, and not that that's a problem, but my mentor teacher was actually super great with it. Just having grade 12 classroom, the kids are generally very responsible, they're very studious already, so we really lucked out with the classes that we have. But I know some other classes, some teachers were really dreading that night, but I was just excited to have that opportunity and to learn. So the parent-teacher night was last Wednesday, and I had some time to sit back and reflect on my experiences. So I'm just going to go through a couple of the common themes that I saw throughout the night from different parents, and then I'll go through common questions and common solutions that we posed to the parents, so hopefully that helps you out with your first parent-teacher night. So the first couple themes that I saw from parents were that they were very supportive of us as teachers. They wanted their kids to learn, they want their kids to get into university, and they want their kids to develop. So they were really just committed to figuring out how to have their students do better. But there always are going to be some parents that are like, hey, can we cut some of those assessments out of the midterm grades so that way it looks better for university applications? To obviously, which we have to say, no, that's not fair to everyone, and we can't, lie about a student's grade on their report card. Now, the second common theme that I saw throughout the night was generally the students were with the parents. Throughout the interview, we really like to have the students there, so that way we're not talking about them behind their back or anything. We can actually talk to the students and figure out what they want, how they think they can improve, where they think they can improve, and sort of move through that. But it's really that the students took ownership over their work. Now, I don't know if that's just a thing because they're in grade 12, they're a little bit more mature, or at least I hope so. But I do think that being in grade 12 have given them some maturity and some understanding that this is their learning, and if they want to get into university, it's because they have to work hard. Now, the third theme, and this was really, really rewarding, I actually really enjoyed it, it was that students love humor and energy, especially the stuff that we were bringing into the classroom. Apparently they would go home and talk to their parents every night about how cool chemistry was and how they might want to take that with them into university. So I was really excited about that, and it actually capped off one of the biggest parts of the night for me was a student found out that I was going to be leaving at the end of December for another school, and they were really sad, and they even asked me for some reference letters, and they asked to keep in contact with me, etc. And of course can't say no in front of their parents. But yeah, I was just super touched by that. I think that's something that I really wasn't expecting as a student teacher. So I'm really happy about that. So now I'm just going to go into some of the common questions that we got, and I think we had about 15 interviews over the course of 3 or 4 hours. They were generally about 15 minutes long, give or take, but there were some tech issues. So I just wrote down a list of some common questions, so don't mind if I just sort of read them off here. And I'll go through some of the solutions while we're talking about them. So the first question was obviously the most common question, and that was, what can my student do to do better in the course? And I think that's a very fair question from a parent's standpoint. What we ended up doing was we told them, look, they can come in for extra help, they can come in for peer tutoring, or just even study with their peers so that way they learn to see concepts from multiple viewpoints. We also pointed them towards a YouTube channel, which we have posted all of our lessons on for the entire grade 11 and grade 12 chemistry course. And what that ends up doing is that puts the onus on them. If they don't remember something, they have the opportunity to go back and learn in a quick, 15-20 minute video, everything they should know about a specific topic. And then in the grade 12 video, we reference that grade 11 video and build off it into this bigger concept. So really, we point them towards a bunch of other resources. We're always available at lunch and after school, so we put that forth to them. And then we show them our organization chart, which we share with all of the students for the entire term. So we tell them exactly what curriculum expectations are being addressed in specific lessons, textbook problems that are related to those questions, and we give them a checklist of learning goals and success criteria to complete with every single lesson. So that way students have the opportunity of being like, can I do this, yes or no? And if they can't, then maybe that's an area where you need to do more practice. And that's one thing that my mentor teacher told me. He was like, look, as long as you cover your bases and give them multiple avenues, you're showing them that you care about their student, and you care that their student learns and gets the material, and then that way it puts the onus on the student to do better, to learn more. Now, with that said, there were some students who decided to do parent-teacher internight, and they had averages that were like 95 or 96. So there's not much advice we can give to them outside of, maybe practicing a little more, or maybe spending the time to teaching their peers, because that's obviously a big step. If you can teach someone about a concept, that means you're really going to learn it and understand it. So the other questions that were pretty common that I got were, why isn't my child doing well in your course? Now, that was very subjective. Some parents were asking that and their students were getting like 80. So that was a little bit difficult to answer because obviously you can't throw the student under the bus, but you do have to point out areas for improvement. So a lot of it was like, are you doing enough practice problems? Are you asking questions in class? Are you showing us where you've had misconceptions? So that way we can address it. And I think that was really the big three answers. It's really hard to say. I think for students that are maybe getting a 50 or 60 in a course in high school, or, maybe a D or a C, I think that's more of a fair question. But to students who are getting A's instead of A pluses, I think that's difficult to answer. Another question we commonly got was, how is my students learning and their attitude in the classroom? And obviously you just want to be positive about that. You don't want to put the students down. So, if they don't have the best attitude, you can always say something along the lines of, I think their learning and attitude is great. They really approach the course with a positive outlook. However, I think as a role model for their peers, they need to take a leadership role in the classroom, or say like, look, they're approaching it with a great attitude, but I just don't think they're asking enough questions. Right? So you give a little bit of positive, and then you say, look, this is what you can improve on. The next question, I already covered it. Can we omit tests and quizzes and stuff to improve their grades for midterm marks at university? Which the answer obviously is no, we can't do that. It's not fair to everyone. And we do give students the opportunity to write makeup tests if they fail, and we do give them some extra assignments for the whole class. For example, the entire class maybe had a lower average on an application section on a test. We just give them more opportunity. Now, another question we got was, at our school there's a lot of fast tracking. So there's a lot of parents who, their students actually in grade 11 taking a grade 12 course, and they just want to do better. And, we just have to keep reminding them, look, your child is a year younger than normally. There's a certain level of maturity you need to take this course. And if they want to do better, they really need to start practicing. And they need to start learning on their own, and we can't handhold them as much as maybe we did in grade 10 or 11. So I think that was the most common answer to that question. And then the last question we got was surrounding students with IEPs. They were asking what type of supports we have in the classroom, or additional supports we can add because their student is maybe struggling or not getting a good enough grade. And again, I think that comes back to pointing them towards different resources, especially like the YouTube videos and finding us after class and after school, because it just gives the opportunity for either one-on-one learning or learning from different media, right? So instead of learning from a teacher talking in front of a classroom, you're learning from visuals and examples in a YouTube video, which I think can be much more powerful. Also, they're shorter, so for students who have shorter attention spans, instead of sitting this year through a 2.5-hour lesson, you can sit through multiple 20-minute, 15-minute videos and chunk them to however you're feeling, right? If you're burnt out, only watch one video or two, or even cut one in half to cover a concept, right? Or skip forward if you already know the example or can do that problem. So, we just sort of talked about that. Overall, I think I had a great time with the parent-teacher night. It was really great and really informative, and my mentor teacher did a really good job of handling the more difficult questions. But at the same time, he did give me the opportunity to talk about some questions and talk about some students, especially in the lessons, in the section, that I primarily taught. So just a heads up, if you are a teacher candidate, it's something that you should look forward to. And try to take ownership of a parent-teacher night and deal with a couple parents of the students you know, and really just sit there, watch, and observe with the rest. And get some of those answers and questions in your head so you know what you're going to face in future interviews. But yeah, after the parent-teacher night was done, all the teachers were super supportive the next day. Everyone was being like, oh, how was your first parent-teacher night? I was like, yeah, it was great. I have no complaints. The parents were good. The students were good. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what I can say about that. But, again, it is stressful going into that. So, for those of you who are teacher candidates, please try not to be too stressed out. And with that said, I'm actually going to end the video here. So thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure having you along for the ride. And if you like the video and want to see more like it, please like and subscribe to the channel. It definitely goes a long way in helping us out and grow the community. But with that said, I'm signing off. So have a great day, stay happy, safe, and healthy, and I'll see you all around. Bye, everyone.